Oh, you thought that was your house? You got it paid for? No, that's not your house. Where's my money? Read. And the honorable men are famished. The honorable men are famished. The dons, las doñas of our people, the community, they are famished. They've lost and given up the ghost. Because when it comes to these vital topics of restoring our community, bringing back our people in rulership, where are they? They're silent. When ICE is locking up our people in cages at the border, where is the outcry? Where are the people saying, hey, Biden, I thought you were going to take away the people in cages. You added more people in cages. Where is the outcry? There is no outcry because, what is that? The honorable? What happened to the honorable? And the honorable men are famished. The honorable men, the ones that should be leading the charge in the revolutions because they have more wisdom and more experience in years, where are they at? They're at the back. They're asleep at home. They're at the flea market buying on the Sabbath. That's where the honorable men are. Read. And their multitude dried up with thirst. Their multitude are dried up with thirst. What's the water that our honorable men should have? Because they're thirsty. Their mouths are thirsty. They're going to church on Sundays and they think they're getting warmed and filled with the Holy Ghost. But the Bible's letting us know they are thirsty. They lack the electrolytes to quench their thirst. But this is what the Bible's going to let us know, the water that we're supposed to have. This is the book of Ephesians, chapter 5, verse 26.
Bring it out.
That he may sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word. So the water that's supposed to quench the thirst of our honorable men, go back to Isaiah 5, is the water of the word. Because I guarantee you, I have a $100 bill for anybody that can show me Father's Day in the Bible. Because Father's Day is coming up. Everybody just celebrated Mother's Day. They have posts on Facebook, oh, I love my mother. But 364 days out of the rest of the year, they dishonor their mother. But they feel like that one day is going to make up for those 364 days of dishonor. And now what's coming up? Father's Day. Where the same cycle is about to happen. And the Christian church, they like to throw scriptures around that time. Like God is love, about all those things. We celebrate all these holidays, but we have no understanding why we do these things as a people. Our people are famished. Read that. Isaiah chapter 5, verse 13. Therefore, my people are going into captivity because they have no knowledge. So the people that it's talking about here is the Mexicanos, the so-called blacks, who are really the children of Israel. These people are, the whole Bible, this is a newsflash for a lot of people, because a lot of people try to equate this book with all 18 nations under the face of the earth. But guess what? The Holy Bible, the one you find in every hotel room, every courtroom, this book was only written by the children of Israel. This was only written for the children of Israel. This is our history book. But the problem that happens is when we look at this book, we don't see ourselves in this book. We don't see ourselves, the Mexicanos, we don't see the blacks. We don't see ourselves as being those people that are give me Deuteronomy 7 and 6. Because this is what we're trying to get and instill in our people. So we had an issue before where a sister was trying to call the cops on us. But we're reading the Bible. How is that such a crime? I could understand if somebody was selling drugs here in the corner, if somebody was trying to scam somebody, but guess what we're doing? We're reading the Bible. And that's what we're going to find out today is when you actually stand up and you actually start teaching the truth of what the Bible's saying, that's when people come against you. That's when you become an enemy. That's when, if you have a job on television and you start speaking the truth, that's when you lose your job. Because guess what? The whole media, this whole world, the whole perpetration of lies is to keep you from knowing that you are from the children of Israel. And that's what we're going into right now. That's what we're trying to instill in our people. Read that. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God has chosen thee to be a special people unto himself. So what I want you to get right now is the words that we're reading. It's using very specific words because it's talking to a specific people. Right here in the book of Deuteronomy, it's not talking to everybody on the face of the earth. It's talking to these people. You see these people that went through all these things? We've seen movies. Have you ever seen Roots? Have you ever seen, there's a book called 1492 with Christopher Columbus. There's a bunch, Apocalypto. Have you ever seen that? By Mel Gibson? You seen that? Where you had all that happening to the indigenous people? Those things were not by surprise, and that's what we're trying to teach today. These people, and a lot of times that's the question that people ask, especially in the world. They say, if God exists, why do bad things happen? You ever heard that? Yeah. That gets said a lot, right? And that's where people, in their mind, they try to justify, okay, that's why I don't believe in God, because if God, correct. But for some reason, they always believe there's a devil, but for some reason, they never believe in God. You can't have one without the other. So that's what we're showing. Are y'all so-called Mexican? Hispanic, you know that? And that's the crazy thing is, they've thrown so many titles at us, and it's so confusing. Because if you're born in Mexico and you come here, for some reason, you're a wetback, right? That's what they call you. But if you're born here and you're so-called Hispanic, then you don't want to say you're Mexican because you don't want to give off the wrong impression, right? And that's the crazy thing. But that's what the oppressor has done to us to cause division. He's tried to, you see these people on here? The oppressor, the people that are in charge of this world, they've tried to keep these people separate for forever. That's the reason that they're still in control of this earth. That's the reason why Christ hasn't come back yet. Because these people that are on the sign, they're not together yet. But you see these people here in purple? That's what our mission is, to bring unity to those people. Because we really want to see Christ come back. And that's the difference between these religions that you see here. I don't know if you've ever been to a Baptist church. Have you ever been to a Mormon church? Have you ever been to a Seventh-day Adventist church? Have you ever been to a Jehovah's Witness church? Have you ever been to a Pentecostal church? That's kind of how it is sometimes. But the point I'm trying to get across is, when you go to these churches, you have people that have been sitting in the church for 50, 60, 70 years, and they're just there laying on the pulpit. Right. Or they're just there singing hymns or whatever the case may be. But guess what? There's no change coming in our communities. Right. You see how the buildings look over here? Where are the leaders standing up to bring rejuvenation to our communities? Why is poverty still here an issue here on this side of Lubbock? Have we ever thought about those things? But you go to the other nations, you go to the so-called white people, you go to the so-called Asian communities, the so-called Arab, and guess what? They have HOA, there's no stray dogs, there's nothing, the streets are clean, there's no trash, nothing, right? But for some reason, you go to the so-called black, the so-called Hispanic where they live, and guess what? Worst conditions ever, tearing down moldy buildings, basura. It's messed up. But that's what we're trying to get instilled. There's something going on in the earth that hasn't been inputted. Give me Deuteronomy. Give me Deuteronomy 28:15. This is how we know that we're the Israelites. This is the most pivotal chapter. And of course, on that flyer that you have right there, we've got contact information here in Lubbock. We've got a school. It's on 1821 Parkway Drive. Read that Deuteronomy 28, get verse 15, get 48, and then get 68. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. So basically, God told Moses to tell the Israelites. And what the Israelites, y'all are the Israelites, God is telling y'all, if y'all decide to break my commandments, to not do my commandments, bad things are going to happen to you. The things that happen on this side, these things were going to happen to us. These things were going to happen to us. Slavery, esclavitud. These things were going to happen to us. Get verse 48. Verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies. So today, do you think that we serve our enemies today?
Maybe.
Do you think that we're servants or slaves still?
Yeah.
Okay, because everybody thinks we're free, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Correct, because guess what? We still got to go to the supermarket. We still got to go to United. We still got to go to H-E-B for all of our stuff. That's what the scripture's talking about. But the other nations, they produce those things and sell them to us at a price and tax us on it. Read.
Deuteronomy 28:48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee.
So the Lord was going to send these against you because you decided not to keep his commandments.
In hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things.
So to get water, to get a Red Bull, who are you going to have to go to?
Are you able to make Red Bull on your own?
No, right? So to get a shirt, to get a pink shirt, you got to go to what? Victoria's Secret, right? Who owns Victoria's Secret? Does a Latina, a so-called Latina own that? That's the other nations, right? That's what the Bible's letting us know. Read on.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee.
You see that right there? That's a yoke of iron. You see these things that were put on the so-called Hispanics? Because somehow there's a detachment from the Aztecas, the Incas, the Mayas. There's a detachment from the so-called Hispanics today. But those are our ancestors. These same things happened to our grandparents, our great-great-great-grandparents. These are you. Read on.
Verse Deuteronomy 28:68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
So the Bible's letting us know that we're going to go back into captivity again with ships. And that's what happened to the so-called blacks, and that also happened to the so-called Hispanics. Have you ever heard of a person called Squanto? I read that book when I was in...
that one was kind of a tribe, but that?
Correct.
Yeah.
Indigenous, same people. But the whole thing about him was he was transported to England, and he learned English, and he was transported back. And somehow he knew English when he was amongst his fellow tribesmen, so to speak. But what I'm letting you know is we were transported through the transatlantic slave trade, through the Arab slave trade, all of those things. We are products of those things today. That's why in our mindset so very low. We can't ever see ourselves of being the ones that are actually owning those businesses and giving the money to everybody else. So what I'm trying to instill though, in summary, is that y'all are the Israelites.
That's right.
The flyer is on there. It's got information about the so-called Mexicanos and how to reach us. And the commandments. That's the most pivotal thing. In order for us to really encapsulate and bring these tribes together is to keep the commandments of God.
We used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are how men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.